Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And we got to get into this issue with President Trump and his administration sending National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. And there has been even 3 more governors who have authorized deployment of their National Guard units up to D.C. to show support and a show of force for Trump. But we have to really dig deep and see what's going on, because Mayor Muriel Bowser has said that the real issue for President Trump sending in the National Guard troops has to do with immigration and not with D.C. crime, and that crime has been down. But down from what? President Trump and Mayor Bowser have an adversarial relationship. They're not in agreement. Muriel Bowser is a black female, and of course, Donald Trump does not agree with the way she is governing the city of Washington, D.C. So let's get into it. Is this really about Trump sending in the National Guard to make our city in Washington, D.C. safe? Is this about public safety, or is this about immigration? So let's go. 3 more GOP governors authorized deployment of National Guard troops as part of Trump's show of support. 3 more Republican governors authorized the deployment of National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. on Monday, part of President Donald Trump's escalating show of force that he says is designed to crack down on crime and boost immigration enforcement in the nation's capital. The announcements by Mississippi, the state of Mississippi, the state of Tennessee, and the state of Louisiana brought the number of state troops detailed to the president's effort to more than 1,100 National Guard troops, and the number of states that are in agreement with President Trump to 6. So those 3 states are bringing up 1,100 National Guard troops to help secure Washington, D.C. Governors from the state said they were responding to requests from the Trump administration to join the operation. It was not immediately clear why the administration requested additional military support. About 800 troops have already been called up from the Washington, D.C. Guard and have had a limited assigned role so far in Trump's 10-day-old attempted takeover of D.C. law enforcement. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser said the description of the operation needed to be more honest and acknowledged that they weren't just about curtailing crime, but about immigration enforcement. So she doesn't think this is about curtailing crime, but she thinks this is about immigration and ICE. A centerpiece of the second Trump administration that has echoed across the country in recent months. During a news conference, Mayor Bowser pushed back on Trump's characterization of the city, and she voiced skepticism about the administration's real intentions. She said, "I think it makes the point that this is not about D.C. crime." Mayor Bowser said of the administration and states deploying National Guard members onto the streets of the Capitol, the focus should be on violent crime. Nobody is against focusing on driving down any level of violence. And so if this is really about immigration enforcement, then the administration should make that plain and simple. But you have to remember, another thing that tipped off President Trump and his administration is that recently somebody in the Doge department got carjacked just a few weeks ago. So that might be the precipice for President Trump saying, hey, we need to ensure the public safety of the people of Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is ranked fourth for crime, violent crimes in our nation. And D.C., Washington, D.C., called Chocolate City, has had issues for over 40 years with violent crime. Just ask people that live on the southeast side of Washington, D.C. Trump's executive order that launched a federal operation declared a crime emergency in the District of Columbia and initiated a takeover of Washington's police department. The administration has ordered local police to cooperate with federal agents on immigration enforcement, orders that would contradict local laws prohibiting such a collaboration. Federal agents have arrested 160 undocumented people in the district since the operation began, including people that White House officials allege are known gang members with prior felony offenses. So what is the friction between the local government and community and the community? This friction continues. The executive order has led to friction with the local government and heightened tensions in the community as a surge of federal agents in the Capitol garner praise and protest from residents. The nation's capital can govern itself through powers delegated to it by Congress, though the federal laws that grant that autonomy would give wide breadth to the president and Congress to intervene when they see fit. That long-standing tension has led to a legal standoff between local officials and the White House in the current troop deployment and a surge of federal officials into the district. In what could also heighten tensions on the streets, Washington has been informed about the intent for the National Guard to be armed, though it has not received details about when that could happen or where armed guard members could be deployed in the district, according to a person familiar who was not authorized to disclose the plans and spoke on a condition of anonymity. Says it would be a departure from what the Pentagon and Army have said about the troops being unarmed. The Army said in a statement last week that weapons are available if needed, but will remain in the armory. Pentagon Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson also said last week that troops won't be armed. In response to questions about whether Guard members in Washington would be armed in the coming days, the District of Columbia National Guard said troops may be armed consistent with their missions and training. That was by Major Melissa Heinz, a spokesperson for the D.C. Guard, who didn't provide any more detail. So whether they have guns or not, just their presence hopefully will curtail these ongoing onslaughts of assaults, carjackings, gun violence, etc. The stepped-up Guard's presence grew further Monday with the new deployments from Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee, all led by Republican governors. A spokesperson for Tennessee Governor Bill Lee said that the governor had granted a request from the Trump administration for the state's National Guard members to assist with monument security, community safety patrols, protecting federal facilities, and traffic control. The troops are ready to assist as long as needed, the governor's office said. That coming from the governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee. In addition to Monday's announcements, West Virginia said it was deploying 300 to 400 troops. South Carolina pledged 200, and Ohio said it will send 150 troops in the coming days. deployments that built on top of Trump's initial order that 800 National Guard troops deploy as part of the federal intervention. National Guard members in the District of Columbia have been assisting law enforcement with tasks including crowd control, patrolling landmarks such as the National Mall and Union Station. Their role has been limited thus far, and it remains unclear why additional troops would be needed. Remember, there were already 800 troops there in the D.C. area that President Trump has sent in, and now at least 6 other states are sending other national troop guards there. What is going on in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C.? So it says it's unclear why additional troops would be needed, though attention-getting optics have been part of Trump's playbook for a long time. So there are questions that remain about who is actually running the D.C. police, because now this is where the confusion comes in with whether it's city local leaders or the President Trump administration, who is going to be assigned to what and who is giving the orders on this issue with public safety and immigration. On Friday, the city's attorney general sued the administration for appointing the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, as the city's emergency police commissioner. Now you see where the federal part of these individuals are stepping on the toes of the local police in Washington, D.C. So who's giving the orders and who's receiving them? The administration walked back the move, but then issued a follow-up order that directed local police to cooperate fully and completely with federal immigration authorities. So that's ICE. D.C. has been under siege from thugs and killers, but now D.C. is back under federal control where it belongs. Trump wrote on his social media website a day after issuing the order. The White House is in charge. The military and our great police will liberate this city, scrape away the filth, and make it safe, clean, habitable, and beautiful once more. Federal agents from the DEA, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is ICE, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is the FBI, the Secret Service, and other agencies have patrolled high-traffic areas around the Capitol over the last week. ICE officers who work under the Department of Homeland Security have made arrests in neighborhoods across the city, dispersed some public gatherings, and torn down pro-immigrant signs, according to videos published by the administration. The White House has touted various arrests that local police and federal agents have made across the city since Trump's executive order. Federal agents have made more than 380 arrests in the week since the start of the operation, and in some cases issued charges to detained people. The White House has touted the surge of agents on social media and posted pictures of people arrested by local and federal officers. Washington, D.C. is getting safer every night thanks to our law enforcement partners. That's what Attorney General Pam Bondi wrote on social media. Just this weekend, 137 arrests were made and 21 illegal firearms were seized. In total, there have been nearly 400 arrests, and we are not slowing down. If this will curtail crime and they're not just arresting illegal immigrants, then Washington, D.C., the city of Washington, D.C., needs to have a cleansing and be cleaned up. There has been too much murder and mayhem in Washington, drug issues, homelessness for decades. Amid the crackdown, the administration has received criticism for the conduct of some federal agents who in several high-profile incidences have arrested people while wearing masks that hide their identity and decline to identify themselves to media or members of the public. When questioned Mayor Bowser said on Monday that she had asked D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith to seek answers from the administration about the use of mass police officers. It's very important to us that agents be identified, Mayor Bowser said. There's no reason for a law enforcement official to be masked. I agree with that. On Monday, dozens of protesters gathered in the U Street neighborhood of Washington, where multiple federal agents' patrol and arrest had taken place over the weekend. They arrested protesters. On Monday, dozens of protesters gathered in the U Street neighborhood of Washington, where multiple federal agent patrols and arrests had taken place over the weekend to protest the Trump administration's actions. So some protesters have been arrested due to what is going on. You have citizens that are protesting what the Trump administration is doing with this takeover, and their dislike for the National Guard being there. It begs the question, and we have to ask people who live in the Washington, D.C. area, black and white, how do they feel about their public safety there? Public safety is a real issue throughout all of our cities in our country. Just as Chicago, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Los Angeles, the entire state of California, Philadelphia, there are crazy things happening, innumerable amount of gun violence, of homicides, senseless deaths. The level of inhumanity is going straight through the roof. There is a besiege or panacea of unethical and immoral behavior that is taking place with our young people today, and the callousness that we have for life and or death. We have an entire generation that is heartbreaking, but this young group does not know how to deal with conflict mediation, conflict resolution, not wanting to go to college, trade schools. Everybody wants to chase the bag by any means necessary. And our level of morality has dipped into the abyss of helplessness and hopelessness. Something needs to be done. Our cities are getting to be more dangerous, especially our blue cities with these liberal laws, these no cash bail systems, the Safety Act in the state of Illinois, no cashless bails in New York City, and of course in Los Angeles and the state of California. You can commit a minor crime, and how do you define minor? Get arrested, get out on your own recognizance that same day, and have a 30-day notice to show up in court. Criminals are not going to show up in court 30 days later to see if they're going to be arrested and or detained. These liberal laws are decimating our cities. It is a reckless law to protect reckless people. Tell me what you think about President Donald Trump sending in the National Guard to Washington, D.C., and he's threatening to do it in Chicago and other cities if the mayors of those cities, the mayor is the governance of his or her city. Baltimore is another one. If they cannot handle the crime and ensure public safety to honest tax-paying citizens, then President Trump is saying he will send in the National Guard for assistance. Public safety is on the brink of falling apart and going morally and ethically bankrupt. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.